Hey guys, this is Sarah Zastro from the Daily De-Stress blog, How to Manage Farm Stress. Today we are talking about 11 smart ways to reduce farm stress and improve your mental health. These are all things that can be done in a short period of time because we all know we're super busy this time of year. So let's dig in. First off is deep breathing. Now, we hear this all the time, but there's actually a way to do it that really does help to reduce that stress level. And that is you have to breathe through your belly, okay? I call this Santa breathing, okay? So you push out your belly like you're pretending to be Santa Claus. Now, seems kind of odd, but what it does is help to burn off the cortisone and adrenaline levels that are emitted when we feel a stressor, okay? So taking 10 or 20 deep Santa belly breaths will help to lower your stress level. Number 2 is to reframe exercise. I call this the farmer's runner's high, okay? Now we all know that exercise is vital to reducing stress. However, we also all know that farmers, as by definition, are super active and you probably get plenty of exercise already. Now, what does this mean and how can we bridge the two? Part of what makes exercise and quote unquote normal people so stress relieving is that they look back, they look in the mirror at the gym, they look at the miles they've ran, they look at the weights they've lifted, whatever they're doing, and they think to themselves subconsciously, I just did a good job. Farmers rush through one task to the next, to the next, to the next, and we never think that feeling, I just did a good job. So if we can reframe exercise and think to ourselves, I just did a good job, I just, moved all that hay, I just dug that trench by hand, I just picked up 80 acres worth of rocks, I just, it doesn't matter what the activity is. If you're breathing hard, you just did a type of exercise. And so if we can take a minute, it doesn't even have to be a full minute, just 2 deep breaths and appreciate the work that we've done, our brain will release serotonin and dopamine, which are those neurochemicals that help reduce our stress level and improve our mental health. The key is you have to think to yourself, I just did a good job. Okay, so try that. The next time you're doing something and you realize, all right, that was really physical. I worked up a sweat. I'm breathing hard. After you're done, give yourself that moment of appreciation and you'll feel that rush of endorphins that helps you feel a little bit happier, improves your mood, helps you feel content, and things like that, okay? Number 3, when you find yourself in a particularly stressful situation, whether that's a breakdown or the cows are out or whatever the situation is, ground yourself. Sometimes this is called anchoring. This is really important and it's a way that we can remember that we are just one puzzle piece in the whole grand scheme of life, right? A year from now, it won't matter that I blew a hydraulic line. A year from now, it won't matter that whatever the problem is, whatever that stressor is, okay? So anchoring ourselves and remembering this is just one tiny piece in the grand scheme of life will help to reframe that stress because it helps us to take a step back and reevaluate a little bit. I always say regroup and reevaluate, okay? And then tackle the problem head on. Now, this is a great way to help start that process to regroup because we remember that whatever's happening, whatever's stressing us out that day is not super important in the grand scheme of things. Now, if it is really important, then you tackle that issue the way, however you need to. But most of the time it's not. Most of the time the stressors that we feel are little things that build up and build up and build up. And so if we can reframe that to ground ourselves, then that is really, really helpful. My favorite way to do this is I kind of have 2 ways. And it depends on the type of stress. So if I am just stressed out from something that happened, I look up at the sky and think about how small I am, how small this day is in my whole life and how small my whole life is in the grand scheme of everything, okay? So that's what I do if I have these stressors. If I'm in a bad mood, it's something different, okay? If I'm in a bad mood, I turn up a little bit of Bruce Springsteen and rock out to some 90s or some 80s classic music, okay? Classic rock just puts me in an instant good mood. Music is one of the only external things that we can do ourselves that helps to flip our emotions, helps to flip our mood. And so I dance like a maniac at a club, right? It doesn't matter, but moving your body, listening to that music will really help to flip your mood. So those are the two ways that I anchor when I am having a bad day, when I'm feeling stressed out, or when I'm in a bad mood, which never happens, right? Just kidding. Number 4, remember why you love farming. There's this phenomenon in farming, and it's kind of interesting. So the reason that we love farming might also be a huge stressor for us. Let me give you an example. One of the things that I love about farming is working with family. It's kind of a blessing to get to work with your spouse and your parents and siblings and grandparents, everybody all in one. That's also really stressful, okay? That is a huge stressor for me. I love it, but it's stressful. And when I have a problem with that, if I can think, this is why I love farming, this is part of the reason I chose this lifestyle, then it helps to reframe that stress. Let me give you another example. The reason my husband likes farming is because every day is different and there's always a new problem or a new challenge to tackle. That's also really stressful a lot of the times, right? He's not an office person. He could never sit at a desk and do the same thing every day. That's also the stressful part. So if you can remember during the breakdown, during the family fight, during whatever it is, that's also the reason that makes this life that we chose so awesome. It helps us to step back, like we said, regroup and reevaluate, okay? Number 5 is a daily gratitude practice. In the morning when I wake up, I turn on my coffee pot, and then inside of my coffee filters, I keep a little notebook. And in that notebook, I write down 3 bright spots or 3 good things that happened yesterday. Now, what this does is twofold, okay? First off, it releases a double dose of dopamine. Now, how does that happen? Our brain doesn't know the difference between something that is happening right now and a memory. Okay, so when we recall a memory and write it down, our brain releases a double dose of dopamine because it thinks that thing is happening right now. Okay, now, especially if you aren't super chipper first thing in the morning, this is a great way to give yourself that rush of endorphins to improve your mental health, to improve your mood first thing before your coffee is even done brewing. Okay, now the second thing that it does is that our brain is trained to always search for what we're looking for. There's a mechanism called confirmation bias, and what it does is filter in information to reaffirm what we already believe is true. So I know that I'm going to have to write down those bright spots tomorrow morning. So today, my brain is going to filter in information that will make that true. Okay, so it rewires your brain to search for positivity, to search for those bright spots, to search for good things. So it's twofold. Starts your day off with a double dose of dopamine and rewires your brain to search for the good. This is one of the most powerful things you can do to improve your mental health. Number 6 is to drink your water. On the farm, we're always running place to place, doing this, doing that. There's always things to do. And water and hydration sort of goes by the wayside. Our body needs water for everything, okay? And so you've probably noticed if you ever get too dehydrated, you get a headache or you get muscle, you get muscle tightness, muscle soreness, muscle twitching, right? when we don't have water, our body suffers. And so if you can drink your water regularly, it will help your stress levels. It'll help your mental health. It just helps everything to work more smoothly. Number 7 is to tell someone you appreciate them and why. Not only will this improve your relationships, but it helps pour into somebody else's cup. We all have that metaphorical cup, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. If we can help to brighten someone else's day, help to fill their cup a little bit, it not only helps us by making ourselves realize that we have a positive effect on others, but it helps them as well. Especially if you, like we said, we all work with family. And so if you tell people that you're working with on a daily basis that you appreciate them and why, it will do great things for your day-to-day operation. Number 8, sort of going back to that metaphorical cup. At the end of the day, remind yourself of 5 things you did well that day. A lot of times our head hits the pillow and we're out, right? And we never feel accomplished because there's always so much to do. And so if we can remind ourselves of 5 things that we accomplished that day or 5 good things that we did, then that's really key to feeling accomplished and fulfilled. Number 9 is to stretch our muscles, okay? Stretching all major muscle groups at the end of the day is a great way to relieve soreness, to relieve pain that we have, to ease that aching back, those muscles that have worked so hard today. And again, going back to that stress response, it lowers our cortisol level and our adrenaline. And so doing that right before bed will actually help you sleep a lot deeper. Stretching those muscles, lengthening those muscle fibers also helps your body to relax more. So you'll feel like you're melting into the bed, right? It's the best way to sleep deeper at night, which then in turn will help you to recharge for the next day. Okay, they say stretching is one of the best things you can do for your mental health, and so I really encourage that. Number 10 is to focus on what you can control. This is a lot easier said than done, but such is life, okay? So we a lot of times confuse what we are responsible for versus what we can control, right? We are responsible for a whole mess of things, right? Our family, we're responsible for our community sometimes, our farm, the business aspect, the operations, the livestock, the plants, making sure things get done. We're responsible for this whole slew of things, right? But we only truly have control over ourselves. We only truly have 100% control over ourselves, because as much as we want to, the kids and our spouse and the livestock and whatever, church and the community events and all these other things, we don't have 100% control over. We only have control of how we react to situations. As for the rest, let the chips fall where they may. Focus on what you can control. Okay? And number 11 is to say no. I realized a couple of weeks ago as I was running to the parts store for the 3rd time in one day for not our farm, but my parents' farm, that I need to say no more. Okay, and this is a challenging thing. It goes back to boundaries. There's an amazing book called Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud. If you need help saying no, then this is really key, okay? But saying no in a way that does not upset anyone and does not make you feel guilty, I promise you, is the most liberating thing you can do. With that being said, sometimes you got to run for the parts store. Sometimes you need to do things for other people. Sometimes you need other things done for you. And so it's always healthy to have a give and take. But sometimes it's not a priority. Sometimes it's not important. And sometimes, especially as women, it's easy to say yes to everyone else's agenda and our important things go by the wayside. Okay? And at some point, we got to rein it back in, because our farm is important too, and our family is important too, and constantly doing things for others empties that cup, okay? Okay, guys, so this was 11 smart ways to reduce farm stress and improve mental health. Number 1, deep breathing. Get good at it. Use that Santa belly breath. Number 2, reframe exercise into the farmer's runner's high. Number 3, ground yourself. Ground yourself in the sky, in something that you love, in a good song. It doesn't matter what it is, but remind yourself that you are here and now, and that's okay. Remember why you love farming, okay? Do that daily gratitude practice. Drink your water. Tell someone you appreciate them and why. Tell yourself you appreciate yourself. Tell yourself good things you did every day. Number 9 is to stretch. Stretch before bed. It'll help you sleep deeper and it'll help you relieve sore muscles after a long day. Number 10 is to focus on what you can control. Only you have 100% control of yourself. And number 11 is to say no when you need to. Get comfortable with it so that you can do it without upsetting anyone else and you can do it without feeling guilty. Comes with practice, but I promise you it's one of the most freeing things you can do, especially if you're struggling with stress and mental health. You guys have a great day and we'll see you later. Bye.